starting the third day of our trip in Piccadilly Circus, as you can see behind me there. Piccadilly Circus has been described as the Times Square of London, and you can see with all the images projected up on the screen over there, the commercials, the advertisements. But you know, in and of itself, it's kind of its own thing. But we came here on the tube. We plan to go to Westminster Abbey later, but it doesn't open until 2 for visitors. So we thought we'd come here, get some breakfast, look around, and then decide what we want to do next. But yeah, I know, it's kind of a crazy place. As we were walking around looking for restaurants, which not surprisingly, not a lot are open. I feel like this is more of a daytime evening place. We came across this, which I assume leads to, having done no research, I assume leads to Chinatown, the area of London that is a Chinatown. That's pretty neat, actually. Wow. We're gonna explore around here a little bit, see what we can see. Again, most things don't look open, but we still would like to have a look. Here is another cool area of Chinatown. With all the lanterns. I bet this is beautiful at night with the lanterns going. It's a big open square. So far nothing's open, but you know, it's Chinese food, so it's probably mostly lunch and dinner. I forgot to bring a belt, so I had to come to buy one. And one thing I knew before I came here, but I remembered when I came, or when I finally saw it, was TJ Maxx is actually called TK Maxx here. I'm not sure why, probably some kind of copyright thing. But anyway, it's just like your normal TJ Maxx, clothes, cosmetics, belts, you name it. Anyway, I thought that's just sort of a little interesting fact. We stopped by the Chestnut Bakery in Covent Garden to get some breakfast, and the sandwich jumped out at us. So it's just a turkey and cheese sandwich. I'm not sure what kind of cheese. Josh got a coffee. I got some orange juice. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and reasonable.
We made our way to the British Museum. Here's the outside, and we're in line now. It's free to get in, so there's lots of people here. So there's lines. There's 2 lines. One is if you have, if you're like a pass holder, or if you have paid for a specific exhibition or exhibit, then you could go through the line that I'm looking at right now. But I'm in the line for people just wanting to enjoy the museum. Wow, beautiful building. I am not a museum snob. I like museums of all shapes and sizes, but my goodness, this is gorgeous. See with this kind of light here, like not iridescent, transparent ceiling there, so you get, or translucent, there's the word I'm looking for. So you get the nice outside lighting in here, and then you have this big rotunda. Little snack bar over there, stairs going up. We're gonna go look for the Rosetta Stone, because both Josh and I are interested in that. And we bought a map. You don't get a free map, although you could find one online, I'm sure. We just decided to get a precious non-computerized map for £2. Or you can buy a guide, a full guide in English for £6. All right, here is the museum layout. And feel free to pause to take a look. There it is, the Rosetta Stone.
Hieroglyphics, demonic, and then Greek.
It's really cool to see that. The Rosetta Stone was so important because it was the way to unlock the Egyptian language before people, modern day people, could read it, because we could read Greek, but we couldn't read hieroglyphics. Well, then we found the Rosetta Stone that was written in 3 languages, one of those Greek, one Demotic, and one Egyptian. And so because we knew how to read Greek, we then figured out how to read the hieroglyphs from there. And yeah, so it's pretty incredible that, you know, ancient scholars were able to figure this out, how to read a dead language, because a key was unlocked to do it. General Horemheb and his wife. A sarcophagus.
Tons of symphonies.
Marimus. Yeah, you can see the kind of intricate work in there. Eye of Horus. There's a lot of Eye of Horuses on the items we've been looking at. Giant sculpture up there on a plinth. You can see the people down here, how big that is. It's incredible the age of things. This is about 3,000 years old, a little over. And yet it still exists, and we're here to enjoy it.
Incredible details still.
Just like the internet, the Egyptians loved their cats. It's a really good likeness, too. It's got an Eye of Horus on it.
Scarab, another scarab, I think, up top.
Yeah, scarab on the head, scarab on the chest. It's bronze with silver and gold jewelry. Here's a good example of, or a good reason why they liked cats so much. They could appear or the gods could appear as cats. So any cat you came across could be a god in disguise. I know my cat thinks he is. I love this kind of stonework. But what I really like about it is that, you know, how frustrating it is when you make a mistake when you're writing something and you have to cross it out. Well, they made a mistake and they had to clumsily fix it, which is what the thing says over here, the card that talks about it. So in the right area down there, they had to clumsily fix a mistake. Oh my goodness, look, it's Ramesses. I'm sorry, that's a terrible joke. And some columns. Somebody over there just knocked these down and dragged them all the way to England. Look how tall they are. They almost reach to the ceiling, not quite, but they're very tall. And so many hieroglyphs on them. We've moved into the Greek and Roman area. And lots of vases. I love how they use their pottery to kind of display important events. Sorry for the flicker, it's the different frequency, I think is the right term, of lights in London versus America. Feel free to pause on any of these if you want a better look. Coins of the kingdoms. I love all these different coins. And it also shows you sort of where they were used at the same time, but you know, every area had its own coin that it pressed. It's not like today where a whole country comes up with coins. There's more down here, and I'll go across the legend in just a second. There's all that. Bring this way towards the legend. This was a time when the coins were generally made of the precious metals that they were worth, so it didn't really matter where it came from. Somebody might accept it. Marble busts. How lifelike some of these are. Like sometimes you look at a bust and it just, you know, looks like a generic person, but you know, when you look at some of them, like, look at this dude here, like, I feel like I could know that person, right? Like, the cheekbones are similar to people that I know, the shape of the lips. It's hard to tell with the nose, but even the hair has sort of variation. Same thing this one here, like, you know, this person has different cheekbones. Their face is flatter, and their lips are kind of smaller, and nose is a little pointy, and it's just, like, you could know that person in real life. I really like this kind of museum work. So they find this, and it's to this woman named Seanti, and I think that's what it says down there, Seanti. So they find this, and of course inside is her skull, and so they take her skull and they reconstruct what her face probably looked like, and this is what she probably would have looked like based on that. And because of the skull, they could tell that she had arthritis in her, like, jaw, essentially, and she had impacted wisdom teeth and dental abscesses, and so eating must have been very painful for her. It's interesting to figure those sort of things out from so long ago. I've always been interested in money and how it's used and how it's been used over time, but I really like this. These are like banknotes for TV. The top one was used in GoldenEye for a scene where there was lots of money. And this bottom one here was used in an episode of Doctor Who where they had to have a large number of banknotes. Of course, neither of them are legal tender. It's illegal to create, you know, real money, do that kind of thing. But the other one over here is interesting because it has Princess Diana on it. And so Banksy, the artist, had printed out a bunch of these, and he, as a tester, sort of handed them out at a festival. And when people tried to use them, of course, they were fake. And then he realized that he could be prosecuted for forgery, so he abandoned giving the rest of them out. It's an interesting story. Here we have one of the heads and body from Easter Island. Wow, that's so cool. I'll walk around it. We are on our way to Westminster Abbey, and we decided to take a double-decker bus because we hadn't been on one yet. We either could have walked it, took a subway. They were all about the same time, actually. So we decided, let's do a bus. That'll be fun. I mean, we did the tour bus, but not an actual, like, bus. We're passing by the theater where they have Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We almost thought about getting tickets for this, but it literally is 2 plays. You buy a ticket, you go for one play, you have like a long intermission, and then you come back for like dinner, and you come back for another one. And we didn't want to spend that much time. We don't want to spend that much time if we only had so much time in London. But boy, I would really have loved to see this. As promised in the video from the first day, we have come back to Westminster Abbey to go inside and have a look around. This is covered by our London pass. Today the visiting hour started at 2 p.m. But you can see on that sign over there that there are different hours the rest of the week. 9:30 mostly, and then 9 on Saturday. There it is, the famous rose window. The entrance is over there. The line still goes this way, and then it snakes that way, and then comes back. And they're letting people in, even though it's about 10 minutes beforehand. Wow, we haven't even bought our tickets yet, but I mean, we have our passes, but look at this. Look at these stained glass windows. These are incredible. And statuary. And erected by the East India Company. All right, they give you headphones, and they give you something so you can listen to it, like a little audio guide, which is pretty cool. And what are some options, Josh?
There you go.
The 1-hour tour, the highlights, the families. Oh, let's do the 1-hour tour. Oh my goodness, look at the beauty of this sculpture. This is stop 1, which is just kind of a introduction. Wow, cherubs up there. Putti, that's what those are called. I learned that from Josh. P-U-T-I, Putti.
Tutis.
D? Oh, tutis, P-U-T-T-I. What we think of as cherubs are actually called putti. I don't think I realized this on the last one, but these are tombs. And here is the body of this guy, Almericus. That's incredible. He died 1719, aged 57. And then they also have, just like to the memory of, so I don't know if this guy is actually here, but it is a monument. Check it out, Charles Darwin. Right here. That's where he is, right there, in case you were wondering. So at Catholic churches, you can always put a fee in there. Josh just put £1. And it's a donation essentially, and then you choose a candle and you light it. And once it lights, you just kind of set it down and it'll burn out.
There you go.
Many thousands through the ages have made Abbey a house of prayer. For someone known to you who needs prayers, for the many unknown who also need prayers, for your home city, town, or parish, or for Westminster Abbey and the ministry here. That's nice. Essentially, it's for good luck and good wishes and in memory. And so we did this when we were in St. Paul's Cathedral in New York, or St. Patrick's, excuse me, Cathedral a while back. And we're doing it here. I mean, I love St. Patrick's Cathedral, don't get me wrong, but it has nothing on this. This is incredible. I am not a particularly religious person. I did grow up Catholic, but I appreciate the architecture and the ceremony and just the beauty of it all.
Former Prime Minister.
Oh, David Lloyd George. I know that name.
Yep, that's right. We saw him recently.
Yeah, exactly. He was post-World War I. 1916, well, during World War I, 1916 to 1922. I started doing narration and then I was told that you can't do video with narration, otherwise you might disturb people. So at this point on, it's going to switch to just video with some music so you can see all the different things that we looked at. It was an incredible experience, honestly. I love old churches. I enjoy looking at the architecture. This one is probably the best one I've ever seen as far as churches go. And the audio guide made it really cool. You just listen, you clicked on like a number that matched where you were, and it told you a little bit about it, and you could click for more. It was a pretty cool experience. So if you come here, I think it would be awesome if you went too, because even if you're not a religious person, it's an amazing experience to look at the architecture of something so old and how it was built and who's all there, and you know, it's where they keep a lot of the history. I guess it wouldn't be a trip to London without at least a little bit of rain. We brought umbrellas, but we've been looking at the forecast and it wasn't supposed to rain. It was a 0% chance today. Well, lies, all
It's
lies.
London.
I mean, I know weather's just an educated guess, but it's not heavy. It's fairly light, and I think we'll be okay. If it starts picking up, we may just have to buy an umbrella, because even though we have it, we don't have it on us. We decided to stop in the Sherlock Holmes for some lunch. It's kind of late for lunch. It's sort of an early dinner. We saw this somewhere in someone's vlog, and we just happened to go by it, so we thought, hey, let's give it a go. The pricing looks reasonable. This is nice, huh? So there's a National Gallery back there. Beautiful fountain. If you've seen my videos, you know I love fountains. And this is Trafalgar Square. You can see way up there, that's what they're famous for, or that's what this square is famous for. And it has the lions. Those are beautiful. They're a lot bigger than I thought they would be. I like it. But the sun has come out, which is real nice. It rained earlier. You can see there's rain on the ground. It's not just coming from the fountain. And I know I'd mentioned it. We didn't get too soaked, but we're still wet. So it's nice that the sun's out so that we can warm up a little and maybe dry off a little before we head off to the play tonight at the Globe Theatre. What you are looking at here is it was the smallest police station in London. That little bit right there. There used to be a lot of protests in Trafalgar Square, so in the 20s, I think it was, they hollowed out a lamppost and stuck a few windows in it, like the really tiny windows there, and they could keep an eye on things here. This was before there was, like, you know, closed circuit television where they could just keep an eye on it that way. But that's what it's there for. It could hold up to a couple prisoners if it needed to. They could just throw them in there and lock it. Usually there was just a policeman in there, but yeah, interesting fact. It is London's smallest police station. Maybe possibly the world, but definitely London's. And to give credit where credit is due, the way we found out about that was watching a channel called Jules Guides, Joolz. His name's Julian, it's short for, and Jules is short for that. Anyway, he has a lot of interesting videos about London. We watched a whole ton of them before we came here to help plan our trip. So I highly suggest you go check out his channel, Jules Guides. It's on YouTube, very easy to find. One thing I wanted to mention, and I keep forgetting, but I have finally remembered, is what are we doing for internet and phone while we're here, right? So originally I had done some research and I bought something called an Orange card. Orange is a brand of cell phone service in Paris. and you could buy a card on Amazon, and you got so many gigabytes and you got so many minutes and all that kind of stuff. And you could, you just pop out your SIM card in your phone and you pop that one in and then you use it while you're here. And since it's Paris, or since it's France, technically it's only there, but you can use roaming, and then you can roam anywhere that they have service, which is like London, pretty much the major cities in Europe. But while I was doing research, so that's what I was going to do originally, because a while back I'd done some research and that was my plan. But before I bought the actual cards from Amazon, I had done some other research and I found that Google Fi existed. And so what Google Fi is they piggyback, if you're in America, they piggyback on the T-Mobile network. So you have service in America and you have data and all this kind of stuff. And it's mostly unlimited, and it's like, it was $70 a month for unlimited. And but when you came to Europe, or almost anywhere in the world, then your service still worked. So now we're piggybacking on local London services for no extra charge whatsoever. For our normal monthly cost, which we would pay anyway, we're getting all of our data and getting all of like text, that type of thing. If we wanted to make a phone call, local phone call, it wouldn't cost anything. But if we wanted to call like back home to the States, then it would be 20 cents a minute, which is actually not that bad. And that's just part of our cost that we would normally pay anyway, which is really cool. And when we go to Paris, we'll just piggyback off of something there. And we didn't have to do anything special. Once we got off the plane, we just turned our phone off of airplane mode, and it automatically connected, and it just connects, you know, when we go out of the subways. I mean, we lose service in the subways, the tube, excuse me. But anyway, if you're gonna doing a lot of traveling, then Google Fi's pretty good, because it'll work almost anywhere. There's a whole list of countries, and it's pretty extensive. We didn't change to it just for that. It actually was cheaper than what we were paying for our normal service. Not a ton, but it was cheaper, and we had the benefit of international travel. So that's gonna work for us on this trip, and then eventually when we go to Japan, we'll be able to use it there too. So it's just foresight, plus it's cheaper than what we were paying anyway. So hey, it worked out great. But there's lots of different options. If you don't pre-plan, then you're fine. When you get off the plane, you can just go to a vending machine at the airport and buy a SIM card. Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, they were right there as soon as we got off. Or you can go to some stores in town. They're happy to sell you one. One thing that a lot of people don't know, because if you're in America, you usually get your phone from your provider, and then they put you on a plan, and that's how they keep you for a couple years. That's how it works there. But in most other parts of the world, that's not how it works. You buy your phone, and then you buy a SIM card, and then you can use the SIM card and you can top it up, is what it's called, if you want to add more minutes, or you can buy an unlimited SIM card, whatever you happen to want. But you don't buy them together. You essentially have them separate, and your cell phone can be used with any carrier. So it's different here. That's why you can just come here and, excuse me, get a SIM card and then pop it in. But before you do that, you want to check with your carrier, because sometimes you have to unlock your phone before another SIM card's going to work. And most carriers will do that as long as your phone is paid off, right? Like, they don't want you to go to another country and then just disappear forever and never pay off your phone. So there could be some restrictions. So before I tell you that it works with every phone, you just pop in a SIM card, just make sure you check with your carrier, because you may have to unlock your phone first. By the way, the whole Google Fi thing is not a paid advertisement. I'm just telling you what we did. I'm not a shill for them. They're not paying me anything for that. I just want to make that clear. We hung around Trafalgar Square for a few minutes and then went across the street to a bookstore that was nearby. What was it called, Josh?
Waterstone.
Waterstone. I haven't been in a bookstore in a while. There's not that many of them left. It was nice. I love the smell of bookstores. Yeah, there's a number of them here. Anyway, we're walking across the bridge to get the other side of the river, to head to the Shakespeare's Globe, and we're gonna see, and I'm very excited about this, Much Ado About Nothing, which is my favorite Shakespeare play. It just happens to be showing here while we're in London, and that was a bit of good luck. The show starts at 7:30, 6:15 right now, so we're gonna get there early, but we thought we'd just kind of hang out in the neighborhood, see what there is to do, and then go see the show. And that's pretty much the last thing we'll do before we head out tomorrow morning to take the Eurostar to Paris. All right, there it is. the Globe Theater. We're here a little early, about 45 minutes early. That's okay. Sun's still out. Wasn't too bad of a walk. We got to walk along the river. You know how much I enjoy that. And just got to figure out how to get, or where to get in. There's a bunch of people sitting here, so I'm guessing that's probably where we're gonna go. What is this? A theater for ants? I love this Lego version. It's so cool. So it's a replica of the Globe that existed in London years ago that was eventually torn down and then rebuilt in the 90s. So yeah, it's all wooden. Stairs. We're going to be sitting on benches essentially. That's why we paid £2 extra per each cushion to sit on. Obviously I won't be able to film the play itself, but here's what it looks like, the Globe Theater. Essentially it's kind of round and there are like benches. We are sitting against the back wall here, so we actually have a backrest where other people don't. And we paid extra for the cushions because cities would be very hard on your butt after a while. And there are also places, just like there were at the time, see down there where all those people are standing, you can get pretty severely reduced tickets if you just want to be standing down there. In the old days, they were a penny to come in and watch this. So people with the money would sit, you know, like in the box seats over there or over here in the benches. And there's 3 levels. There's one above us and we're in the middle. And then there's one below us as well. And then you have all the people standing there and then you have the stage. So it's pretty incredible actually. We pre-ordered some drinks. Josh is having a cider and I'm having a mango honey margarita, which is really tiny. It's like a can of scented spray.
Yes.
And Josh, oh, I can't really see that. What is it anyway?
Magner's Irish cider.
Irish cider. Cool.
I love me a cider.
The play was great. Our seats were great. And we really lucked out because we were sitting in like the back row. So there's benches, but we're sitting in the back row, like I said, with a back, and that made it a whole lot of difference. And the cushions made a whole lot of difference. But while we were watching, one of the characters, the actor who played Baraccio, he hurt his ankle. And we knew something was up because he had slid off the stage because they were being chased, you know, as part of the show by the guardsmen. And he came back on stage and he was limping, like actually not putting any weight on one of his legs. And we thought, is that part of it? You know, and then he's just going to run off, you know, no, then you could tell he said something to the other actor and that actor helped him off stage. They were going off stage anyway, because it was that time in the show. And then very shortly thereafter, one of the stagehands came out and told us that there was going to be a delay and just to remain where we were. So we were all just waiting around for
at least 10
minutes. At least 10 minutes. Yeah, it was, I'm not sure how long it was, but it was at least 10 minutes. And I think more than that, because then one of the other actors came out and said, you know, the actor playing Baraccio has injured his ankle. He's on his way to A&E, which is accident and emergency. So it's like the emergency room. And they said that they're just going to skip the 2 scenes where Baraccio confesses. And just kind of move on with the play. And then it still took, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes after that before they started again. And then we just went through the rest of the play. So I feel kind of bad for people who have never seen the play before, because, you know, there are some scenes in there that make a difference for kind of understanding what happens, the confession, and how they plan to remedy it. And so I don't think it would have made a lot of sense to people who didn't know how the play goes. Anyway, it was great. The acting was great. There were a few things that kind of bothered me. It was mostly a big outdoor scene, right? Like they used the same set that you saw in the video earlier for everything. And it was supposed to be kind of outdoorsy, and they had the sound of like running water, like there's a creek or something nearby, and occasionally they'd have the sound of like a plane flying overhead because it took place like right after the World War. Oh, Josh thought they were real planes. I thought they were being pumped in. I don't think they were real planes. I really think they were coming in because it was the same sound every time. And and they had the water. So sometimes it was difficult to hear what the actors were saying over the sound effects. And the actress who played Beatrice, who was actually pretty amazing, but on occasion she would say something more quietly for effect, but it was really hard to hear her when she did that. This is the Globe Theater. They're not mic'd like they are if you go to a traditional theater, so everyone can hear them. They have to project, even, you know, up into the cheap seats. And there were times where if we couldn't hear them, then the people up above us definitely weren't going to hear them. But anyway, overall, it was a great experience. We had a really good time, and that's how I feel about London in general. It was a great experience. We had a really good time. We spent so much time away from our hotel. Like, we never came back to rest during the day. Once we left, we were gone the whole day. And it's 11:15 now. We just got in. Because of the delay, it took a little longer, you know, for the play to go. And tomorrow morning, we have to get up bright and early so that we can get to the underground, so we can get to St. Pancras Station, so that we can hop the Eurostar and head over to Paris. And they are advising us to get to the station 90 to 120 minutes early to make sure we can go through security. Apparently, because of Brexit and because of COVID, security has been taking longer. And so hopefully we'll get through quickly, but we'll see. Anyway, we don't mind there being early. I'd rather be there at the airport. I feel the same way about the airport. I'd rather be there waiting for 2 hours than be rushing to a train that's about to leave without me. And that's fine. So that'll give us time to get breakfast, get through security, all that kind of stuff. So thank you for joining us on our third day of London. And look out for my next video where we spend pretty much half a day in Paris, and we're going to do the Eiffel Tower, and then, yeah, it's more than half a day, and then we'll be heading off to Disneyland Paris the following morning. So keep an eye out for those videos too.